Hi, my name is Lauren Little,
And I'm Skyler Maccoun.
and this is our senior design project for the expansion of the Livingston Airport turnarounds.
So, a little bit of background about the Livingston Airport and Livingston. It's about 5 miles east of town. And when you look it up on the maps, it might come up as Mission Field Airport. It's the same airport, just has two names. Livingston has a population of about 8,000 people, but that's just kind of a rough estimation because there's a lot of tourism. And a lot of clients who fly into the Livingston Airport go to places like Big Sky Resort and Yellowstone. And so Livingston tends to gain some population from those clients as well. And the last major reconstruction of the airport was done in 2011. So this is the next major project that will be going on at this airport. So the project objectives were that we needed to design two widened turnarounds to accommodate larger aircrafts on runway 422, which is the main paved runway of the airport. That little map just shows where the actual airport itself. And then we also needed to reduce unstable subgrades and just make sure that they had the proper thickness on those turnarounds. And then we're also improving the drainage that goes off of the surface. So that will just be taken care of with drainage slopes on the edge of the turnaround. And then we also needed to meet the Federal Aviation Administration regulations. That stands for FAA. And that's just to make sure that the planes are making legal maneuvers and they are not overhanging onto any dirt or gravel. And then the final thing we needed to make sure we designed for was proper lighting, signage, and paint striping.
So as you can see here, this is runway 422, and on either end there is a turnaround. We'll be referring to them as the southwest turnaround and the northeast turnaround. And in those call-out boxes, that is our area of work, the scope of work for this project.
So before we went into any design analysis or alternatives, we had to take a look at the current site conditions and the data that we were given by our sponsor and professors. So we were given a geotechnical report conducted by SK Geotechnical in 2010, and we were also given a topographic map and survey of the runway and turnarounds themselves. And what we learned from both of those is that the pavement that is currently on the airport is in fair to good condition. There's a few minor things that we were looking at, but it just suggests that the pavement isn't necessarily brand new, but it still has plenty of time in its lifespan. And we saw that the pavement is asphalt that is currently on the turnarounds. And the topsoil is about 3 to 6 inches thick. The subgrade is made of clay and it's poorly graded. And then the groundwater, there's no groundwater or static water within 10 to 14 feet of the pavement.
So next in our design, we looked at the design criteria and the design constraints. So for our design criteria, we had pretty strict FAA regulations that we needed to follow for widths and turning radiuses. So we wanted to make sure that these turnarounds met all of those requirements. In our design, we also were designing for a 45,000-pound single wheel aircraft and just under 100,000-pound dual wheel aircraft. In our criteria, we were also looking at lighting and marking, and then the paint striping, especially with the expansion, making sure that paint striping was up to date and on the proper center line. Then from that, we were looking at our design constraints. And really, our only constraints were that we needed the design completion by the second week of May. And really, our maximum for construction was 3 weeks, and that is due to the airport actually has to completely shut down for this construction. And so the 3 weeks is the maximum that the airport is okay with being shut down.
So the first semester, we spent a lot of our time doing preliminary design analysis. And so what that means in a quick sense is that we took a look at all of the alternatives that we could have for this project, and we evaluated them based on cost and efficiency of how long they can last, and how much maintenance they would be, and just what was best for this airport. So we came up with two pavement alternatives, which would be concrete or asphalt. And then we had three different lighting alternatives. So on the bottom left, you can see those are our inset lighting option. And what that means is that the lighting would just be flush with the pavement. And that's what they would look like. And then in the center, we have above ground lighting as one of the options. And that's pretty self-explanatory. It would be sitting above the pavement just like it is in that image. And then on the right, we have the option of reflectors, which sit a little bit off of the pavement and just have the ability to reflect the light that is coming in from those aircrafts.
So from all of those, we decided that the recommended alternative was that we would have asphalt with those retro reflectors, as you can see on the right. The asphalt was decided upon because the current asphalt there is actually in great shape still, and so we are able to just trim the edges in order to prevent seams between the new asphalt and the old asphalt, and so we'll just be able to expand upon the current turnarounds, which will make it the most cost efficient. And then looking at the reflectors, because of the size of the airport, we decided that we did not need electrical lighting. Currently, they have reflectors, and that, according to the FAA regulations, reflectors are great and meet the standards. So we have those blue ones in the bottom right that are staked 24 inches high off the ground. They are blue for the turnarounds, and they're located 10 feet off the pavement, so we'll be relocating those from the current edge to 10 feet off the new edge of the pavement. And then between each reflector, they will be spaced about 60 feet apart.
So this first drawing is a plan view of the southwest turnaround. And so just a couple things to point out. The red solid line that is on the outer edge is the new pavement edge that's where our project design is for. And then the hatched stripe looking red area is the part that we will be cutting off, which is a 1 foot cut around the perimeter of the existing asphalt. So total, we are making this turnaround have a width of about 57.5 feet. And that is to meet the criteria of a taxiway design group 2, which is part of the FAA regulations for the size of this airport. And the yellow striped line is our new center line that will be painted and with a width of 6 inches. And then we'll have 11 reflectors around the perimeter of the new asphalt, and they'll, like Lauren said, they'll be the 60 feet spaced apart.
So then this is the northeast turnaround, which is very similar to the turnaround that Skyler just presented, with the same design criteria and constraints, with those reflectors around the edges and the red line displaying the new pavement edge, and the hatched line, again, being that 1 foot that we're cutting to make it a seamless turnaround. And then in the middle there, you can see those are a little lighter gray. Then we are not touching those at all. Those will stay as they are.
So this is just an overview of our final cost estimate for both those turnarounds that this project is going to entail. So just a couple things to point out. Item number 1 is mobilization and demobilization. Typically it's 10% of the construction cost, but for our project it'll be 15% because the lighting will be involved in that, which is just the cost for moving those reflectors to the 10 feet away from the new pavement. And then you can see that item number 6, which is the asphalt hot mix, is a big chunk of where the cost is coming from in this project. And then there's lots of other things like painting and removing the current asphalt that we'll be excavating, and then we'll be excavating to a certain depth for the subgrade and sub-base, and so that's where a lot of the cost comes from in our estimate, and the total will be about $354,000 for the entire project.
So part of this project is that we wanted to look at the environmental and societal impacts. We did find that there are a few negative environmental impacts due to the hard surface. Any rainfall and precipitation will have to be redirected to the edge of the pavement, and we will accommodate that with a slope, and then that water will then be allowed to percolate back into the ground. And then of course, unfortunately, we will have to tear up some of that topsoil, that dirt, in order to expand the turnarounds. We do have some positive societal impacts. So the FAA currently pays for 90% of any airport project. So that additional 10% is usually paid locally through taxes. And in this specific project, we're very fortunate that a local donor decided to cover all 10%, so that would not be taxed on the community. And we're really excited because we believe that this expansion will help support the local economy, especially with tourism, accommodating for larger aircrafts, that people are able to fly into Livingston and use these turnarounds and make proper maneuvers.
So as far as sustainability goes for this project, the reason we chose asphalt and reflectors is because asphalt will only need to be resurfaced once every 5 years, and it lasts a total of 20 to 25 years, which is great because the airport won't have to keep shutting down for maintenance or even full reconstructions that often. It will just be that once every 5-year maintenance, and then in 25 years they can go on to decide a different alternative if they choose. And then, like Lauren talked about, it is a sustainable project for the economy. Widening these turnarounds might bring more clients to the airport, and possibly new ones that hadn't been coming to the airport because they can now fit their larger aircrafts at this airport. And again, that's just bringing more profit to those surrounding businesses and the town of Livingston itself.
So in conclusion, we wanted to meet all of FAA, the design criteria. We conducted a technical evaluation. We provided technical specifications for all contractors during construction. We have completed detailed designs, and then because this project the design aspect will be completed in May, we still have all permitting to complete by that time.
And here are references. A lot of it is from the FAA website. And yeah, thank you for listening to our presentation, and we hope you have a great day.